All right, it has started, the 30 Books in 30 Days challenge. Let's get to it. Hi everyone, I'm Sandy and welcome back to my channel. Today I have 1001 book countdown for you. Of course, the intro says the 1001 countdown, but it is a very special edition, which is my 30 books in 30 days challenge that I'm also doing in September, and I'm really hoping to get caught up on my countdown. So wish me luck. I'm super excited, of course, because I'm always excited to share with you my books that I actually have already read. But first, if you're not familiar with the 1001 book countdown, I will leave a card up here somewhere for you where you can go and check out the original video. But basically, I'm reading books off of the 1001 Books You Must Read Before You Die project, and I'm slowly making my way through all of those books. It's a huge project. It's a massive passion project of mine that I've been doing for a number of years, so that I started documenting it out here on YouTube a couple of years ago, and have really been having a lot of fun. And I'm very thankful for the video record of these books, because I have a horrible memory. So hopefully you consider giving me a subscribe and sticking around and seeing how far I make it and seeing how far I get caught up in the month of September. I have high hopes. But for now, what we will go ahead and do is put up the numbers, which are 869, which is my grand total out of the full list of books. And then I have 33. Now, every year at the beginning of the year, I pre-select 52 books that I like to try and focus on and finish and get that number to 0. I have not been successful a single year, and that's, that's what it is. I don't know that this year is going to be any better, but I have, again, high hopes of catching up in the month of September. So what else am I doing? I am participating in Shorty September, which is to try and read a book Shorty September is to focus on reading short books, but my challenge that I'm doing is to try and read 30 books in 30 days. And so I'm focusing on very short ones that happen to be on the 1001 list, and I'm going to share them here with you. Now, it'll be the 2nd of September when this goes live, and I do already have 2 books to share with you. Amazing progress already. The first book that I actually ended up reading for the 30 Books in 30 Days challenge was this one, The 13 Clocks by James Thurber. Now, if you had watched my TBR video, you may know that this book was not on my TBR. I ended up going to the library and picking it up there because it was one I was curious about. I thought it was fairly short, and I did not realize it's actually a children's book. And while the book is 128 pages, which I thought would make it a bit long for the 30 Books in 30 Days challenge, because it is a children's book, it actually has a lot of illustrations in it, as well as very large font, which worked beautifully for my very old eyes this morning when I tried to read first thing this morning. The book was originally published in 1950, and Thurber has 2 books on the countdown. The other one is actually only 80 pages, so I don't know why I didn't put that one on my September TBR either. But this book, I was so surprised. This book was such a delight. It is a fairy tale with the evil Duke in the castle and his niece that he is holding captive of Sarah Linda, and all the princes that are coming to try and rescue her. And the Duke sets unrealistic challenges for them, and they can't possibly achieve those particular pieces. And then there's the final prince that comes. It is a delight. It is really a fun story with lots of supporting characters that are unique and different. And with all of the wide variety of fairy tales, it had a very different slant on it. In this one, the 13 clocks all represent, there are 13 clocks in the castle that have all frozen at 10 minutes to 5. And that's a big part of the story. It's a stoppage of time, the clocks in it, the niece who is under some type of a spell, the prince who's trying to rescue her. And I loved this book. It wasn't quite a 5-star book, but it was one I'm so thankful. It was my first book that I read for the 30 Books in 30 Days challenge. Super, super sweet. Lots of fun illustrations in it. When I say it's sweet, it definitely has some dark tones to it. The Duke killing people and feeding them to the geese, things like that. But it is a lovely story, is what I would say. but it is a lovely story is what I would say. Highly recommend this one if you're looking for a shorter book that's on the 1001 list that's very easy read. I would say definitely pick this one up, especially if you like children's books. But with this book, we get to go from 869 to 868 somewhere, but I didn't put it on my 2023 list. I didn't even have it on my September TBR, so that number stays at 33. However, I have another book for you. This is the book I actually had planned. This is the book that I had actually planned to read as my first book in the 30 books in 30 days challenge. But when I tried to read it this morning, the font, oh man, it was early. It was like 5:30, 6 o'clock. And my eyes just could not seem to focus on the very, very tiny font. So I ended up reading this book second. And the book is The 39 Steps by John Buchan. This book, I don't know if that's how you pronounce his last name as well. It clocks in at 88 pages, which is a fantastic length for the 30 books in 30 days. This book was originally published in 1915, and definitely the story is kind of like a precursor to World War I. So that's something that was that timeline as far as when the book was published was very relevant to when it was actually what was going on in the events that were going on in this book compared with what was going on in the world. This book, how do I describe this book? I, for some reason, thought that this was going to be a very old-timey detective kind of novel. You're thinking the Maltese Falcon, I want to say the Millennium Falcon, that's just wrong. The Maltese Falcon, think the, very old time film noir is kind of what I was expecting of this. And I was completely wrong. This is actually a spy thriller. And it is a spy thriller, like I said, leading up to the start of World War I. And yeah, it wasn't my favorite book. It was a little bit too convenient. Right at the beginning, there is a gentleman who meets another gentleman, and things just really progress from there. Someone is killed, someone is on the run, and the person that's on the run just conveniently finds all these people that are willing to help him, and conveniently the bad guys find him, and conveniently he survives this. It just was all a little bit too light, I guess, in the details. It feels, and the length kind of tells me, it feels like this is almost an outline for a bigger book. If it had been a couple hundred pages, a few hundred pages with a lot more detail about what was going on, I found it to be pretty confusing. I found it just to be, I wasn't sure why things were happening the way they were happening. I ended up kind of just going, it's okay. Not wonderful. Certainly compared to the children's book I read, this book is nowhere near as nice as that book was. It wasn't a book that I was like, wow, that was amazing. But it did qualify for the 30 books in 30 days, and it is on the 1001 list. So that made me incredibly happy. It is probably the book I was most excited to read for the 30 days challenge. And I'm not sure why, other than I did think it was kind of film noir-y, detective-like, and was disappointed. But I did finish this particular book. But with this book, we do get to go from 868 to 867, and thankfully it was on my 2023 list. So we get to go from 33 to 32. Okay. Yes. Amazing. Exciting. It is only the 2nd of September. I have already read 2 books. As the point that I'm filming this, it is going very well so far, but it's early. So we'll give it some time to see how things go. Books I kind of have sitting here is the ones that I want to pick up next. I think I might pick up this one, The Driver's Seat by Muriel Spark. This one is another one that's about 120, 105 pages, something like that. Perfect for the challenge that I'm on. This one might be a good one. The other one that I'm kind of chomping at reading is this one, The Awakening by Kate Chopin. Chopin? I'm not sure how to say her last name, but those are the 2. I have a stack though, because I like to have options here. I do have, a good stack of ones that I've kind of pulled off my shelf that are, maybes, kind of maybes for right now. So all of these are on the list for September. We'll see how I do. I will be publishing a short every day with only 1 book per day. So you won't really know if I'm ahead or not. If you follow me on Goodreads, you'll get a little bit more of a feel of how quickly I'm going or how slow I'm going. And then I'm posting a picture on Instagram every day as well with the book that I read. So It's going well so far, but I'm only on day 2. Well, technically it's day 1 when I film this. It'll be day 2 when you see this. So that is my update for the 1001 book countdown. Are you participating in Shorty September? I'd love to hear that. Or have you read either of these books? Have you read any James Thurber? I was very surprised, pleasantly surprised by him. And as always, like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, everyone, thanks. Bye.